This is a video on how to make grid lines. So I have two products here, both similar. They are the puzzle cube, and one is a tissue box cover and one is just the six-sided cube. So I'm working on the sixth side to close that up. They both have two vertical lines, two horizontal lines. The tissue box cover has two additional horizontal lines at the bottom for height, and of course the opening at the top. So when I did this, I made it so that the intersecting lines, the stitches all go the same direction because it looks cleaner. So I'm going to demonstrate that here. So you can see on these two, I went from the bottom left to the top right, and when you switch that around, you go from the bottom right to the top left. And it sounds more complicated than it is. It's easy to tell, oh, this is the way the stitch is, so that's the direction I need to go in. So to start it off, you're going to leave a little tail, just like so, and you're going to stitch right over that, which works really well because especially with colors like this, you don't want to be putting the black underneath the white because it will show through. So these lines work very nicely. And when I get up to the intersecting line here, I'm not going to double over what's already there. I'm just going to stitch one right below and then one right above. Just like so. One below and one above. Okay, and then when I get to the end here, we're going to turn it over and go right along the back. Just push the needle through there. Typically I go behind 2 or 3. Pull it through, trim off the excess. Now we have our last side to attach. Now for how to attach the remaining sides, please go see the dice number 2 and 3, and it goes over exactly how to attach this. A few more notes about these grid lines. So because we have them going different directions, they're never going to match up all the way. So you can see this corner here, they're all going the same direction right across the top. But on this one, it switches direction. And you really can't, no one would ever notice. It's just me being OCD and wishing that everything lined up, but that's just not how it works. Similarly, when doing, I'll show you on this one, this is the normal color version. When doing the middle, you'll see that the stitches go sometimes the same way and then on the other two sides opposite. It looks really nice anyway. There's really no way around that. So one other thing I wanted to demonstrate is attaching one of the sides. And this is where I do think it makes sense to make sure the direction is the same. When we're attaching this, it'll look nicer if the stitches are the same, especially down at the bottom. So to do that, now when I attach the sides, I always, for these projects, leave a tail and tie the two ends in a knot at the end. I find that's the best way, especially when working with a different color trim. Okay, so we're going to go right through the two corner holes, and then we want to make sure that our stitches are going top left to bottom right so that it's the same the whole way down. So we started with one straight across, and we're going to go just to the right of it. Now there's two ways to do this. You can do it in 2 motions, where you're going into one and then back up the other. Or you can do it in just one motion where you go right through. And it takes a second to figure out, but you're basically going just straight across and it creates that diagonal. And you have to be careful that you don't clip the thread on either side, especially like when you're dealing with different colors like this. But it is much quicker. And as you can see, as we come to our first grid line here, we are going the right direction. Looks real nice. There's something very satisfying about making these grid lines. Similarly to making the cube. When you attach the last side of the cube, it's just very exciting. Okay, then when we get down to the bottom, we have our final 2 holes. And we're gonna finish with a straight across. And then we'll tie our knot. I tie a double knot, and I try to get it as close to the seam that I just created as possible. And then trim off the excess. And so now we have attached one of the sides. If you have any questions, please send me an email.